Hello and warm regards from Next IAS team. Welcome to another episode of Daily News Analysis. In today's explain section, we are going to discuss the following topics. The first topic is about the relations with Kenya and Madagascar, because our State Minister of Defense is going to visit these two countries. Second topic is about the expansionary policies with respect to fiscal policy and monetary policy, because RBI has for the second time reduced the repo rate. Now, what is going to be effect on the macroeconomics, that we are going to cover here. The third topic is about the INS Tamal, a stealth frigate that has been inducted in the country. The next is the quantum communication. We have achieved a new feat in which the free quantum key distribution technology we are now experimenting. And lastly, in the decoded section, we are going to discuss about the Iran-Israel conflict, the US role and the impact on India that is going to be there. So let's start with the first topic. The first topic in the explain section is Raksha Rajamantri to visit Kenya and Madagascar. The backdrop is very simple. The Raksha Rajamantri, Shri Sanjay Seth, will lead a delegation to Kenya and Madagascar between June 23 to 26. And this topic is relevant from GS paper 2 in the international relations. Now, why is visiting? Because first of all, for the Kenya, he is going to visit Taita Tevata County, where he is going to unveil a commemorative pillar that is honoring Indian and Kenyan soldiers. Secondly, he is also going to attend the 65th Independence Day celebrations of Madagascar and the anniversary of Malagasy Armed Forces in Antananarivo. So that's why he is going to visit Kenya and Madagascar. Now, if we talk about India and Kenya both are maritime neighbors. They share the common maritime boundary of the Arabian Sea. Secondly, both are members of IORA, also Indian Ocean Rim Association. If we talk about the trade and investment part, India is among the top 5 trading partners of the Kenya. Secondly, the bilateral trade stands at $3.6 billion. India from Kenya imports soda ash, tea, leather, and Kenya imports from India are pharmaceuticals, machinery, textiles and vehicles. Next is the health cooperation. India is the topmost destination for the Kenyan medical tourist and especially for cancer and cardiac treatments. Also, India is favoring a Pan-Africa e-network which supports healthcare and education links with the Kenya also. Then for the people-to-people ties, around 80,000 people of Indian origin are residing in Kenya. The Indian diaspora is contributing significantly to the Kenyan commerce, education and civic life. Then next is the capacity building. For capacity building also, India runs a program known as Indian Technical and Economic Cooperation, of which Kenya is also a key recipient. The next thing is about the Kenya. If we see the geography of the Kenya or the political boundaries of the Kenya, politically from the north it is bounded by Ethiopia and South Sudan. From the east side, Somalia is there, and then Arabian Sea is there, then Uganda and Tanzania. So these are the countries which are surrounding Kenya. Now for Kenya, the geographical features include first of all the Great Rift Valley. It runs north-south throughout the Kenya. Secondly, an important mountain known as Mount Kenya, which is of volcanic origin, is the second highest mountain in Africa after Kilimanjaro, is also in Kenya, and it has been declared as the UNESCO's World Heritage Site. More or less, equator also passes through Kenya. And if we see, this is Mount Kenya, it is very close to equator but not on the equator, that you have to remember. Then on equator, Lake Victoria is situated. It is the second largest freshwater lake of the world, and it is shared by Kenya, Uganda and Tanzania. Then next is Lake Turkana. This is Lake Turkana, also known as Lake Rudolph. Earlier it was known as Lake Rudolph. That is also there. It is world's largest desert lake and is located in North Kenya with a portion shared with Ethiopia. Then it is also a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Then one is Tana River. Tana River is the longest river of Kenya and it drains in the Indian Ocean. This is your river Tana. Then the mineral sources that are found in Kenya. The mineral sources include soda ash, phosphor, gemstone, gold, titanium, iron ore, diomite, salt, rare earth metals and various other industrial materials. Then we go to the Madagascar. What about India and Madagascar relations? So let's see them also. So India supports coastal surveillance and capacity building of the Malagasy Armed Forces, that is Armed Forces of Madagascar. Now India also conducted an operation known as Operation Vanilla in 2020 to provide humanitarian aid after the cyclone hit the Madagascar. The next is the economic and bilateral relations. So the trade between the both countries is around $400 million. India exports pharmaceuticals, rice, machinery and textiles, and India is a major importer of Madagascar's vanilla, which is globally renowned. So India is importing the agriculture product known as vanilla. Now if we talk about the developmental assistance, again the program that is run by India for the capacity building, that is Indian Technical and Economic Cooperation, that is also benefiting Madagascar people. Then India has also extended the line of credit for agriculture, power generation and transport facilities. So this is a bilateral relation in which India is supporting the developmental needs, the human resource needs of the Madagascar, and India is importing vanilla from there. The next is the people to people and cultural ties. So around 20,000 people of Indian origin reside in Madagascar, and the Indian Council for Cultural Research offers scholarship to the Malagasy students. Then multilateral and regional cooperation. So both are members of IORA as well. So Kenya, India and Madagascar, even all these countries which are surrounding the Arabian Sea are the part of the Indian Ocean Rim Association. Then let's talk about Madagascar also. Madagascar is the 4th largest island of the world. Then it is separated from the mainland by the Mozambique Channel. This is the Mozambique Channel. Then biodiversity and ecosystem, it is known as the biodiversity hotspot. It is also known as the 8th continent of the world. Why? Because it is having a unique flora and fauna. The next thing, around 90% of the wildlife of Madagascar is endemic. I think you know the meaning of endemic. Endemic means that those species are only found in that particular region, not anywhere else. So that we mean by endemic. So whatever species are found in Madagascar, they are not found in anywhere in the world, or they are limited to a very close region. Then the protected areas, they include Anasibe Manatadia National Park, Isalo National Park, Renof Mafa Single D Bimaraha National Park, which is also UNESCO World Heritage Site. Then natural resources include graphite, chromite, bauxite, nickel, ilmenite and gemstones. So you have to tell me these particular ores, they relate with which metal. Then from agriculture part, vanilla is a very important one. Then coffee is also grown, cloves, rice and sugarcane. So these are the important crops of the Madagascar. Now based upon the discussion, you have to attempt the MCQ and you have to put your answers in the comment box. The second topic that we are going to discuss is about the economics. So this topic relates with GS3, monetary and fiscal policies. The topic is expansionary policies in a slowing economy. So RBI has cut lending rates in 2 consecutive successive meetings, indicating a significant expansionary shift. What we mean by expansion? Expansion means that we are actually increasing the demand in the economy, we are increasing the money supply in the economy, we are increasing the buying capacity of the people. So the expansion can be by 2 means. One means is by the monetary policy, another means is by the fiscal policy. Monetary policy means when we are cutting the rate, repo rates or the interest rates, so that the money is becoming cheap. Second is the fiscal policy, when the government is increasing its spending. Already the fiscal policy of India is expansionary one. Why? Because we are having a lot of infrastructure investment there going on, a lot of social schemes are being running up. So that's why we are having an expansionary fiscal policy. Now let's come back to the topic. So the monetary policy shifts, first of all, let's see that RBI has cut the repo rate twice consecutively in 2025. In April cycle, it was reduced by 25 basis point. In June, it was reduced by 50 basis point. Now current policy repo rate is 5.5%. RBI projects the GDP growth of the country will be 6.5%, and the inflation is going to remain within the we can say the bracket that has been given by the government, that is 4 plus minus 2%. Then we see the fiscal policy shift. The income tax cuts have been announced this year, February 2025. The objective was to increase the demands of the people. Second, the objective is to spur the private investment and to boost the growth. The next is the need for policy coordination. The need for policy coordination. First is fiscal policy, second is the monetary policy. Now, there has been tax cut for higher spending, and higher spending is there, it will increase the demand. Secondly, the interest rates have been lowered, it will boost the investment and spending. because when the investment rates have been lowered, that means the people are going to have take more loan and they are going to spend upon either investing or either on the spending part. आप सिंपल सा ये कह सकते हैं that if you want to buy a car, then the interest rate is low, so it becomes easy for you to take loan for buying the car. So it is actually creating a demand for that, and by creating a demand, you are creating employment opportunities in the country. Now, risk of inflation is always there because this is a unique case where we are having a fiscal policy that is also expansionary and a monetary policy that is also expansionary. As a result, the money supply in the economy is going to increase. The money in the hands of the people is going to increase, and this money increase in money supply is going to increase the demand. So it can lead to demand-led inflation in the economy. So expansionary fiscal and monetary policies may amplify the inflation. If we take the examples from abroad, US and UK tax cuts were not followed by monetary easing due to inflationary concerns. Then post 2008 crisis also, when the monetary policy was ineffective, fiscal policy took the lead. So that's why more or less both the policies are not followed simultaneously. Expansionary policies are not followed simultaneously. Then both policies are expansionary. This is a rare instance. It raises concerns over the macroeconomic coordination. Now it could lead to rising inflation, demand may rise sharply, or if the demand remains weak, it may result in rising fiscal deficit without output gains. So there are two basic concerns. The inflation may rise and it can also lead to increase in fiscal deficit without having any output gains. The next is the inflation trend. So if we see, the inflation in June was 3%. It is a 6-year low. So the inflation for India is very much under control. And why it has happened? Because of the food inflation is very low. There has been an early monsoon. Secondly, there has been a good harvest also. So RBI has also cut the interest rate, keeping in mind that monsoon this year is going to be good. That means that in the agriculture sector is going to produce more. That means the inflation in the country is going to be less because supply is more. That's why we can take a chance and can reduce the repo rate so that we can actually push the investment as well as the demand in the economy. Then growth concerns. The SBI report in May 2025 has said that the credit growth is at 9%. It is at the 3-year low. The low credit growth simply means that the money is not going towards investment side. The investment in the economy is decreasing. If the investment is decreasing, that simply means the growth in the economy is going to decline because the demand is also going to decline. Then unemployment is actually increased. It was 5.1% in April and in May it was 5.6%. For June the figures are yet to come. Then despite policy efforts, demand side pressures are still remaining. The GDP growth is steady at 6.5%, but the underlying momentum is actually weakening. So overall, on the surface, we are seeing that the GDP growth is constant at 6.5%, but the underlying momentum is actually weakening. The next thing is the lag in the policy transmission. So whatever policies, the fiscal policy as well as the monetary policy the government is bringing in, that is not getting transmitted to the market. Why the transmission is lacking? The transmission is lacking because the households are not spending as it was expected the post tax cuts. There are basically two challenges that comes with this. First of all, it violates the assumption that the individuals are forward looking. Secondly, the consumption comes later on, it may cause future inflation surge, forcing monetary tightening. So that if the transmission is going to be delayed, it is going to hamper the macroeconomic scenario of the country. Then risk of fiscal deficit is also there. If the output doesn't rise, the tax collections may fall. That is one reason. Then fiscal deficit is going to rise. It may force the government to cut the spending. Then it will, if the revenue spending is cut, the burden may fall on vulnerable population. So we need to ensure that the policy cuts are being transmitted simultaneously without a time lag in the market. The sustained government intervention bringing about increase in wages, consumption power for those bottom of the society is the need of the hour. Now you have to attempt this MCQ and you have to put your answers in the comment box. The third topic in the explain section is about the stealth frigate INS Tamal that will be commissioned on July 1. The backdrop is very simple. The Indian Navy is set to commission its latest stealth multi-role frigate Tamal on January 1 at Russia's Kaliningrad. It is relevant from GS paper 3, that is the defense sector. Now let's go to the news. The general overview is that it is the 8th Krivak class frigate from Russia to join the Indian Navy. Tamal is the second ship of Tusil class following the INS Tusil. It is the last foreign built warship to be inducted by India, aligning with the Atmanirbhar Bharat and Make in India initiatives. Now, to be inducted it will be inducted in the Western Fleet, which is also known as sword arm of the Navy. It will come under the Western Naval Command, we have already discussed that. Then construction and design. It is constructed at the Yantar shipyard, Kaliningrad of Russia, and the oversight is of the Warships Overseeing Committee at Kaliningrad under the Embassy of India, Moscow. Then the project directed by the Directorate of Ship Production under the Controller, Warship Production and Acquisition. Now next thing is, what are the technologies that we are using? 26% of the technologies are of indigenous components, like BrahMos is there, Hamsa NG Mk2 sonar is we are using, then surface surveillance radar complex we are using, then anti-submarine vapor firing complex we are using, that are indigenous, that is our own made. Now the companies that are involved in this frigate, there are Indian companies which are involved. One is BrahMos Aerospace, then BAIL, Caltron, Nova, that is by Tata, then Elcom Marine and Johnson Controls in India. Now it is upgraded over, it is the upgraded version over the Talwar and the TEG class of frigates that we are already having. It will have a vertical launch surface to air missiles. Then it has improved, the 100 mm main gun has been improved. Then EO or IR, electro-optical and infrared systems, the 30 mm CIWS close-in weapon system have also been installed here. Heavyweight torpedoes, anti-submarine rockets have been installed. Then advanced communication, navigation, fire control and surveillance radars. It is equipped with the air early warning and multi-role helicopters. So these are the features with which this frigate is going to come to India. Then the combat features, it involves network-centric war capabilities that it is having. Then advanced electronic warfare suite it is having. Then top speed will be 30 knots and the length is 125 meters with the displacement of 3,900 tons. Then its high tonnage to firepower ratio makes it unique, and it has extended operational endurance as well. So these are the important features which makes it stand out from other frigates. Then two more ships of similar design, Triput class, are under construction at Goa Shipyard Limited and with Russian design assistance. Once completed, India will operate 10 such frigates across 4 classes with common equipment and systems. Now something about the frigates. What are the stealth frigates? Stealth frigates are actually warships that are designed to minimize the radar visibility. Stealth simply means minimizing the radar visibility and frigate means warship. So it is going to have advanced stealth technology. It reduces the radar cross section, making it harder to detect, track and target by the enemy systems. It enhances survivability and operational effectiveness in modern naval warfare. Then common roles include anti-submarine warfare, anti-air warfare, maritime patrol and surveillance and escort missions. Then other examples of important stealth frigates include stealth frigate INS Vidyangiri, then INS Satpura, INS Talwar and many more are there. So with this, you have to attempt this MCQ and you have to put your answers in the comment box. The fourth topic in the explain section is India could achieve quantum communication using satellite by 2030, says IIT Delhi professor. Now why this is a news? This is a news because IIT Delhi has achieved India's longest free space quantum key distribution, transmitting quantum keys over 1 kilometer distance without any cables. So we are going to see what is the significance of this achievement, this scientific achievement that we had. Now this topic is relevant from GS paper 3, as you should know, cyber security achievement of India in science and technologies. Let's see about the news. Now India could achieve the satellite based quantum communication by 2030. That has been said by the IIT Delhi Professor Bhaskar Kanseri. What is quantum communication? It uses quantum keys encrypted using photons between sender and receiver. So photons are being encrypted and they actually are being sent for the communication purpose. Now what is the significance of this? This actually works using the principles of quantum mechanics. It works as the quantum entanglement, and this entanglement means there is entangled photon pairs. The entangled photon pair simply means that the two photons that we are having, they are going to respond to changes in one another. So if there is a change in one photon, that corresponding change will be represented in the other photon. That actually makes it unique, and that makes it proof from this cyber security concerns. It makes hacking attempts detectable and enhancing the security aspects. So it makes it unhackable. Now, need for satellite based communication, why we need that? First of all, fiber optic QED. QYD simply means the quantum key distribution. So one is this quantum key distribution can be divided into two types. One is fiber based, one is free space. Free space is you can just see the mobiles that we are using, that is free space. Fiber means the landlines that we had. So one is a fiber based fiber optic QKD. It is possible, but cost and signal loss increases with the distance. The free space QKD, it is through via air and space, and it is ideal for long distance communication. So we need the free space quantum key distribution for long distance communication. Now satellites can bridge 2 points thousands of kilometers apart efficiently. Next thing is, the atmospheric disturbances can be a challenge in this, because the turbulence, pollution in the cities like Delhi, they can cause beam divergence, raising error rates in free space QKD. Then better beam control can reduce these errors. So there can be some technological upgradation which can overcome these challenges. The next is the international comparison. If we compare internationally, so first of all is the China. China has actually achieved the satellite based QKD nearly 1 decade ago. Yani 10 years pehle China has achieved this feat. They can use, they are having a satellite through which they can actually use this quantum communication. Then Europe, USA and Canada have conducted free space QKD demonstration over 100 kilometers since 2005. And if we talk with India, India is still catching up in this quantum key distribution entanglement communication. We are still working upon that. We are in the you can say the primary stages. Then if we talk about the India's journey, let's see that also. In 2021 Bangalore, 50-meter free space QKD Urbashi Sinha team has achieved that. So this is our quantum key distribution, this is free space, this is fiber based. So fiber based, this 50-meter was achieved in 2021. Then in 2022 Ahmedabad, 300-meter atmospheric channel QKD was achieved by SAC and PRI Department of Space. So 300 was achieved. Then 2022 intercity link between Vidyanchal and Prayagraj via underground optic fiber. So this was through fiber communication. Then 2024 100-kilometer QKD over telecom grade optical fiber, DRDO supported. That was again fiber based. Now this one is the latest one, that is in 2025, 1 kilometer free space QKD by IIT Delhi, India's longest to date. So there we have achieved in the free space category. Now next is the why we require a satellite based quantum communication. First of all, we will need a well funded multidisciplinary team. Secondly, quantum tech startups are also required, so that the private sector requirement is there. Then indigenous development of equipment and components is required here. Funding and mentorship for lab to market translation is also required. So these are the requirements for developing a satellite based quantum communication. Then what is the significance of quantum key distribution? The significance is very simple. First of all, quantum safe security, because this is hack proof, that's why we need that to protect our data against future quantum computer attacks that can break traditional encryption. Secondly, eavesdropping detection. Any inception attempt disturbs the quantum state, immediately alerting the user. So the technologies that we are already having, these technologies are going to become obsolete once the quantum technology comes in. So we need to upgrade ourselves to protect our data. Secondly, this technology is also hack proof. so we can detect any kind of interception that is happening. So it also makes our data safe. Thirdly, unconditional security is there because it is based upon the laws of physics, not on the mathematical assumptions, ensures maximum reliability. Then future proof, it is immune to future advances in computational power, ensuring long term secure communication. Then seamless integration, it can be combined with existing encryption systems for smooth transition to quantum safe networks. So this was about the quantum communication. Now based upon this, attempt the MCQ and post your answers in the comment box. Now it's time for decoding the editorial. The editorial that we are having today is about the Iran-Israel conflict, and now USA has also jumped into that. Now let's see what is going to be the impact on India. So first of all, what is the backdrop here? The backdrop is rising tensions in West Asia, US attack on Iran. The topic is relevant from GS paper 2 in the international relations. Let's see about the news. On June 13, Israel launched a strike on Iranian nuclear facilities, assassinating senior generals, bombarding multiple cities. In retaliation, Iran responded with multiple ballistic missile attacks targeting Israeli military and research sites. Subsequently, United States under Operation Midnight Hammer bombarded 3 Iranian nuclear sites, claiming they were destroyed. The conflict marks a severe escalation in West Asia's tension. So these are the important sites where there have been attacks. Tehran is there, Nasaz is there, then Isfahan is there, Siraj is there, Donbek is there, then Bandar Abbas is the port that we have. Now next is, India has maintained a neutral stand and has tried avoiding any criticism of Israel and has also called for dialogue. So India here is going with a very neutral stand. Now bilateral talks have been happened on June 13 with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and Prime Minister Modi. And Mr. Modi has stressed the need to prevent regional escalation and restore peace and stability. External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar has also conveyed India's deep concern to both Iran and Israel, urging restraint and diplomacy. On June 22, in a call with Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian, Prime Minister Modi expressed deep concern over the recent conflict and again urged de-escalation, diplomacy and early return to the regional peace and stability. Now, if you talk about the response on the multilateral forums, so India has disassociated itself from a statement of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization which condemned the Israelis' aggression. Last week, India has also abstained from UN resolution for ceasefire in Gaza. So on both stands, India has adopted a neutral stand here. Then launch of Operation Sindhu. India has launched an operation to evacuate the nationals from both Iran and Israel. That operation is known as Operation Sindhu and that can come in any of the prelims examinations. Next is the trade disruptions. What is going to be the impact? The first and foremost impact is the trade disruptions. Already from past few years, the trade of India with Iran as well as Israel is on a downslide. For example, if we see, the trade with Iran has dropped from $14 billion in 2017 to $1.4 billion last year. So it has actually reduced by 14 times. Then trade with Iran has dropped to 11 billion in 2022 to 3.7 billion last year. Now conflict can further impact the trade with West Asia, and which accounts for 170 billion of trade of India with the Western countries. Then economic and energy security, that is also very important. This Strait of Hormuz, which can be easily blocked by Iran, is one of the areas which ensures India's energy security. So West Asia is a source of 54% of India's oil imports, and 40 to 50% of India's energy imports come through the Strait of Hormuz only. Kuwait, Qatar, UAE and Iran, Iraq, all the countries actually export oil from this region only. So for energy security, this Strait of Hormuz is very, very important. And up to the current update, Iranian parliament has allowed blocking of Strait of Hormuz. So that is going to affect India directly. Now the disruption due to rising tensions could sharply increase oil and LNG prices. Rise in shipping costs, security and insurance premiums will lead to more costly imports, less competitive exports and inflation. So India could have imported inflation in the country. Why? Because the price of the oil is going to increase, the price of the energy in India is going to increase, and that price rise is directly going to affect the Indian population. India in this response has also increased its import of oil from Russia as well as from USA. Now next is security and evacuation. The safety concerns for about 35,000 Indian nationals in Israel and Iran is one of the concern here. Multi-pronged challenges faced by the Operation Sindhu to evacuate Indians from conflict zone are being seen. Then diplomatic balancing, that is one of the challenge for India as well, because for India, Israel and Iran both are friends. Israel-Iran conflict has consistently posed a delicate challenge for New Delhi due to its deep strategic relationship with both the countries. So when two friends are fighting together, then it becomes difficult for the third friend that how to handle them. Two friends here mean that both are friends of India. बेशक आपस में दोनों दोस्त ना हो, पर इंडिया के लिए दोनों ही इंपॉर्टेंट है. So that's why it becomes very difficult for a country like India to handle this diplomatic time where both the countries are fighting. Then when on one side, USA and G7 have actually supported Israel's action, citing that it is right to self-defense. However, the global south countries have largely shown solidarity with Iran amid the ongoing crisis. And this conflict risks India's ties with the Gulf region as well. Already on Palestinian and Gazan issue, India has kept a neutral stand. Again, with respect to Iran-Israel conflict, if India is keeping the neutral stand, then it becomes very difficult for India to maintain its ties with the Gulf region. So here the diplomatic challenge becomes very, very large. Then strategic projects are also at risk. India is having strategic projects like IMEC, India Middle East Europe Economic Corridor. Then India is also developing Chabahar port, which will be one of the regions from which India can access the Central Asian countries. Now both these are going to be undermined. Why? Because Iran is now involved in conflict. Regional influence and reputation. India's perceived tilt towards Israel may stain ties with the Arab Gulf countries. Then risk weakening India's historic support for Palestine, and its image in the Muslim world will also be impacted, tarnished. Then what India can do, what is the way forward again here? So first of all, strategic diplomacy and neutrality is required here, which India is following. So we need to maintain a balanced stand to preserve the ties with both Israel and Iran. We need to promote dialogue and de-escalation at multiple forums like BRICS, SCO and UN. Then strengthen evacuation mechanisms, enhance readiness for swift evacuation operations like Operation Sindhu, build stronger coordination with host countries and neighboring nations. Then diversify energy sources, that is very much important, very much required. India has already been diversifying its resources. India has increased the imports from Russia as well as from USA. So we need to reduce over dependence on the West Asian oil by expanding energy imports from Africa, Latin America, and boosting renewable energy capacity of the country. That's why renewable energy becomes important for India to make itself immune from the global crisis. India already having a very high population. India is already having a demand market. So if India is able to maintain energy security for the country, then India can sustain its GDP growth for a longer time. Then secure trade and connectivity projects, reassess timelines and alternative routes for strategic projects like Chabahar Port, INSTC and IMEC, deepen regional partnership to ensure continuity of infrastructure and logistic plans. The next is engage Gulf constructively. Reassure Gulf Cooperation Council countries of India's commitment to regional stability. Then expand economic, technological and cultural cooperation to buffer political fallouts. Then boost domestic energy resilience, enhance strategic petroleum reserves and improve energy efficiency to cushion against global price shocks. Strengthen diaspora support systems like establish robust consular networks, crisis support for Indian citizens abroad, facilitate reintegration of returnees through skill mapping and employment schemes. So these things India need to do. Now based upon the discussion, you can attempt this mains answer, and you can put in the comment box as well. So with this we conclude for the day. Thank you very much.